We're about to unpack a 20-year strategy. It starts with what looks like a single failed mine in the middle of the African desert, and it ends with a quiet grip on the future of global energy. So take a look at this. This is the Azalik uranium mine in Niger. It's a Chinese project, launched back in 2007, and it was a mess. Plagued by security problems, terrible output, the costs were absolutely crippling. By 2015, they just shut it down. If you're looking at this through any conventional business lens, it was a complete and utter failure. But here's the question. What if commercial failure is completely the wrong way to look at this? What if this was never about profit? What if this was the opening move in a much, much longer and more patient geopolitical game? To really understand that game, you first have to understand the prize. And the prize is leverage. We're talking 60 years of it. So why should you care about uranium right now? Well, the power for the very device you're watching this on, the massive data centers that are driving the AI revolution, the entire global push for net zero carbon, all of it is creating this absolutely insatiable demand for electricity. And for dozens of countries, nuclear energy is really the only viable answer. In fact, many have already pledged to triple their capacity. And here is the absolutely crucial point. A modern nuclear reactor, it operates for 60 years. Think about that. 60. That means whoever controls the fuel supply for that reactor has leverage not just for a quarter or for a year, but for the entire 60-year lifespan of that critical asset. Because you see, the real leverage isn't just in the raw ore you dig out of the ground. It's in controlling the entire supply chain, from mining to conversion to enrichment to fabricating the fuel and even building the reactors themselves. And for the last 2 decades, one country has been systematically and quietly working to own every single link in that chain. Now, what you're about to see isn't just speculation. This whole analysis is built on hard data from the World Nuclear Association, from Harvard's Belfer Center, the Carnegie Endowment, and even the corporate disclosures from the big players in the industry itself. So how did China do it? Well, they didn't do it by following the Western playbook. They just wrote a completely new one. Let's call it Brutal Darwinism. Instead of picking one national champion and backing it, China unleashes multiple competing state-owned companies into the very same environment. It lets them fight it out with overlapping goals, sometimes bidding against each other. The whole idea is that the environment itself, the real world, will select the fittest, most effective strategies. In this model, redundancy isn't waste, it's the entire point. And this is the fundamental difference in philosophy. The West practices strategic selection. You breed one perfect thoroughbred, you optimize it, you eliminate every scrap of waste. China, it unleashes a wolf pack. For them, redundancy is resilience. And this brings us right back to that failed mine. Azalik's purpose was never about profit. Its real product was breaking France's 40-year monopoly on uranium in that region. It was a psychological victory. And in this long game, that was worth way more than any uranium it could have ever produced. So with that first beachhead established, the wolf pack began to hunt on a global scale. Okay, get this. In 2006, China doesn't just send one state-owned company out to secure uranium. It launched 2 of them at the same time. You had the China National Nuclear Corporation, or CNNC, and the China General Nuclear Power Group, or CGN. 2 state-backed giants now competing for the exact same assets, often bidding against each other. From a Western efficiency-focused perspective, this looks insane. But through the Darwinian lens, it's the perfect opening move. And right here is where you see the strategy in action. Just watch the saturation of a single country, Namibia, one of the world's biggest uranium producers. In 2012, CGN acquires the massive Husab mine. Just 2 years later, its state-owned rival, CNNC, buys into the Langer Heinrich mine. Then in 2019, CNNC buys the famous Rossing mine directly from a Western mining giant, Rio Tinto. And right now, they're in position to acquire the next major project, Tango. And this just lays it out perfectly. Look at the result. 2 competing Chinese entities now own or hold a major stake in all 4 key uranium operations in Namibia. This isn't strategic selection. This is systematic saturation. And this wasn't just happening in Africa. At the exact same time, both of these Chinese companies were setting up joint ventures in Kazakhstan, another uranium giant. They were also developing huge new domestic mines back home. And, critically, they were mastering the next, much harder link in the chain, building their own enrichment capacity. It all came together into what's now known as the one-third doctrine. Source one-third of your uranium from your own mines at home. Buy another third on the open market, and own the final third through your overseas mining assets. That, right there, is the definition of triple redundancy. It's a system designed for ultimate supply chain resilience. Now, let's contrast that with what the West was doing over the same period. The West did the exact opposite. Instead of building redundancy, it optimized everything for efficiency. And in doing so, it created these critical, fragile pinch points. The United States has just one commercial enrichment facility. All of North America has only one conversion plant. And the crucial thing to realize is that this wasn't an accident. The West actively dismantled its own supply chain in the name of efficiency. The U.S. Enrichment Corporation, it went bankrupt. France's state champion, Uranium, was forced out of Niger after the 2023 coup. All of this left the West dangerously dependent on just a few players, including Russia, which still controls a huge chunk of global enrichment. Every link in the chain was optimized down to a single point of failure. And this brings us to the most important takeaway of all. China doesn't actually have to weaponize this supply chain to win. It just has to keep building. I mean, just look at the sheer scale of China's domestic nuclear program. They've got a massive fleet already operating, dozens more are under construction right now, and they've got plans for over 150 more. Every single one of those reactors acts like a gravitational pull, consuming the world's uranium supply to feed its own domestic needs. And now, China is exporting its own reactor technology, the Hualong 1. You should think of this as a 60-year subscription model. Because when a country buys a Chinese reactor, they are also buying into a 60-year dependency on China for the fuel, for the parts, and for all the services. In the end, it really comes down to this. The West, with its focus on efficiency, built a thoroughbred. It's lean, it's fast, and it's optimized for a perfect race. China built an ecosystem. It's messy, it's redundant, and it's incredibly resilient. And in a world where energy security is everything, ecosystems don't just compete with thoroughbreds, they consume them.